Only Slytherins are allowed to have lairs. All the other houses have to be completely one note. It's a rule. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I'm Katie Pettit, and so it is the first random Fandom Friday of the season, and I said that I would do this new thing where on the Friday episode I would just let you guys know what has been, what fandoms have been on my mind, what I've been currently into this week in particular. So, and I don't plan this. This is not a part that I plan. I just think of it right off the top of my mind. But Fire Emblem is still there because I just started the Black Eagles route and it's already disturbing, and I don't like Edelgard. The Lego Movie 2 soundtrack, because I just found out that T-Pain sings catchy song, and that The Lonely Island does that rap at the end of the credits, which I'm still processing. It's a little insane, but so yeah, that's been on my mind. And what else? Oh, I've been rereading all my X-23 comics. I just finished the new X-Men series, and it's still so sad, but I did an episode on that, which you should watch. Okay, so now let's get into the topic of the day. It is another Fire Emblem Three Houses video. I will go ahead and tell you guys that. I know it is a little niche, but I really don't care because I love this game and it's quite amazing. And so I'm gonna do something that I love doing for all of the fandoms, and I just kind of have to eventually at some point during my enjoyment of these fandoms, I have to do this thing, and this thing is sorting the characters into their Hogwarts houses. I have to do it. Sorting is like the best thing. It's so fun. It's so fun to think about the characters in this way. It's so fun to see who is in your house, even though Ravenclaws are tragically underrepresented in the things in the media. So get on that, media. But yeah, we're gonna sort some characters. I'm just gonna do the ones for the Blue Lions and the Golden Deer because I was initially just gonna do all of the students, but I started with the Black Eagles and I was like, I feel like I just need to know them a little bit better, even though they're all fascists, essentially, with the way that I'm going. But I'll sort them later. Maybe I'll sort them and then the Church of Saros people at the same time once I've played both of those routes. But since I have played Golden Deer and Blue Lions, Ferdinand and Azure Moon, I will go ahead and sort those two. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to sort the Golden Deer first because they're easier. They are, as I talked about in my comparison of the two routes, which you should also go listen to. They're, even though they're good characters, like the Blue Lions are just really deep and trauma and all that. So we'll go ahead and sort the easy ones first, and we'll just go in the list. That is the way that I chose to do it. They all kind of have this structure. Each of the houses, maybe even the Church of Saros, I haven't looked at it, but it has this kind of structure. You have the leader, you have the second in command, you have the rival, you have the guys who you have the brains and the brawn, and then the girls, you have the quirky one, the femmy one, and then the tomboy. So I'm gonna sort them in that order because they actually do fit perfectly, both of the houses, which makes it easy for me. So, start with the leader. Obviously, we have Claude, Mr. Khaled von Regan, if that is his real name. I mean, Khaled is, I don't know about von Regan. Anyway, so for this one, I think everyone who plays this game and knows Harry Potter, which I understand is a smaller community, but I can see the argument for Slytherin, and I know that it's going to be the main argument among that tiny community, but I disagree. I would put Claudie Boy in Ravenclaw. And yes, I want him in my house. That is absolutely a factor here. Not even gonna try to disguise it. I want this boy in my house. However, that sounded so weird out of context. We're sorting. However, I do have, I have thought through this. I think it is justified, not just I want him. He's great. Let's put him in Ravenclaw. So, obviously, he's super intelligent. That's no question. He's master strategist. He's very smart. He's super smart all throughout the game. That's quite obvious. He's very witty. He's funny. He's always cracking jokes. And he seems laid back, but he's definitely not. He's very intense about his goals and what he thinks he needs to do, which again could be seen as kind of a Slytherin thing, but it also crosses over into Ravenclaw territory, and the way he just plays everything out and has thought through all these things, that seems very Ravenclaw to me. He's very open-minded. He has learned from experience to try not to judge people based on their background and stuff, so that's a typically Ravenclaw thing. And he does keep a lot of secrets. He does have a lot of things close to his chest, but unlike a Slytherin, he's totally willing to open up to people who get really close to him. He's he doesn't keep those secrets from the people who are closest to him, but I feel like a Slytherin would. They would they would let people get close to them, but they still would have some stuff that they just keep completely to themselves. But Claude, he has his secrets, but when he knows that he can completely trust a person and that they can help him in achieving his plan and working that out, he is completely willing, and he's just a lot more personable than I feel like a Slytherin is, which again, I have literally no beef with Slytherin. I love Slytherins. Slytherin is maybe my favorite house. I don't know, which, I mean, it should be my own. But I'm saying, I think Slytherins are really cool. I have no beef with Slytherins. I'm just saying that's something that they do. They're just not as open with other people. They have great relationships and they're great friends. There's some things that, for no, particular reason or something against the other person, they just don't tell people stuff, and it's just what they do. That's not a bad thing. But Claude is not like that. He is willing to share some certain things, even though he knows that they could be particularly dangerous, with spoilers, with him being half Almiran and half Fodlanese is what we're going to go with. People from Fodlan and all of that trauma that he's got going. He's willing to divulge that information if he feels that he can do that. So I think that he would definitely find a home in Ravenclaw house. I know, I can see your argument for Slytherin. I'm not going to just say, what, that's stupid. If you said he's a Hufflepuff or something, I might call you stupid. But if you say Slytherin, okay, you know what, I'll take that. But for me, I would put him into my own house, and we would vibe, and it would be great. So, Claudie boy, indeed, is a Ravenclaw. Alright, next we have the second in command, which is Hilda, and Hilda is a freaking muggle. Next question. Alright, after Hilda comes Lorenz, the rival. This one, I do hate Lorenz. I don't hate him quite as much as Hilda, so I will let him get into a house, but I feel that he's very concerned with family lineage, which I think is a very Slytherin thing. He's very puffed up about his own ideas and not concerned with other people or what they have to say or what they think. Which again, no beef against Slytherin, but that is a way that a Slytherin is likely to go if they go a bad way. Slytherins could do great things, but if they go a bad way, then they are very likely to go in that certain way. I just I have nothing wrong with Slytherin. I do have some things wrong with Lorenz, and I am looking at the less likable sides of the houses, and the one that he most aligns with for me is Slytherin. Just my family is the greatest, and I am here to do some things for myself, and you guys can all Get out of my way because you are not as cool and fancy as me, even though Lorenz is ugly. Probably the ugliest character in the game, question mark. Ignatz is pretty close up there, but Lorenz probably takes the proverbial cake with that one. And I'm not saying Slytherins are ugly. don't go that. Don't get that from this. But anyway. Oh, speaking of ugly, look at that. The next one, the brains of the group, Ignatz. So it's funny. I almost put him in Ravenclaw because, like, see, I don't like him, and I don't want him in my house. But if the facts are there and it points to Ravenclaw, I will put him in my house. But like, I was just thinking that just because he has glasses. So he's not, to me, he doesn't come across as particularly smart. I mean, he talks a little bit smarter, but I don't think he actually is that much smarter. So I was just thinking Ravenclaw because glasses. So I don't think he's Ravenclaw. I think Ignatz is a little puff because boy is a weak noodle and he just wants to paint. Not saying that all puffs are weak noodles. Again, nothing wrong with puffs either. Puffs can be very great. Puffs can be amazing people. But, again, negative sides, since I don't like him. Ignatz is weak and he's too soft. He's like a little cinnamon roll, but not in a good way. He's like a keto cinnamon roll, if that is even a thing. But yeah, he's a Hufflepuff in a bad way. He's just soft and weak. Again, not all Hufflepuffs. Please, Puffs, don't get offended. You're probably great, unless you're like a weak noodle. But I don't think you're a weak noodle. I think you're just like a nice, kind, hardworking person. That's probably why you're a Puff. But some of you also might just be weak noodles. And that is Ignatz. And that is why he is a Pufflepuff. So, yeah. Sorry, Ignatz. Alright, moving on to the brawn of the Golden Deer. This is, like, so easy, but it's Raphael, and I just don't know how you put him in any other house besides Gryffindor, because, like, meat and muscles. What else do you want from me? Yeah. Sorry, Rafi. Like, you're pretty simple, dude. You're alright. I mean, honestly, I could see an argument for Puff, because he is a nice boy. But, like, he just loves meat and muscles, and those are his most prominent personality traits, so I feel like he's a Gryffindor. he's a simple man. He's not a complicated person. Not necessarily a bad thing, but... Okay, so next up we have the quirky girl of the bunch, of a whole quirky group, so extra quirky. We have Lysithea. Now, I do think this is interesting, because I don't love her, but I do kind of like her. She's a little bit bratty, but, like, I kind of like it. Like, it's kind of just funny. I kind of like her. And so I don't think you could say this is like, I want her in her house, because I do think she is a Ravenclaw. I think, because, like, I don't think this has bias. I don't like her quite enough to just completely move her to my house. I do like her, though. It's just not like Claude, where it might be bias. Like, it's almost definitely not bias here. So, obviously, again, Lysithea is incredibly intelligent, just very, very smart. She's like the youngest student at the academy, and she still got in and all these things. She's a smart girl, very focused on her success and just like academically inclined and always thinking about that, trying to achieve success in these areas. And it is because of her shortened lifespan, and that is a big part of why she's doing this, but also she's very focused and wants to succeed, and doesn't let anything get in the way of that. Really hates to be underestimated. Correction, she will explode you if she is underestimated. Not out of malice, just out of like, okay, how do you like me now? Kind of like that. Yeah, that is her. Uh, Also, she's fairly eccentric. She's very quirky. Okay, which I think is, if it's like a big personality trait, I think it falls into a more Ravenclaw kind of trait. Out of all the houses, they produce the eccentrics, as I would know. The weird people come from Ravenclaw. I'm fine with that. I'll take it. All right. So next up, we've got the Femi girl of the Golden Deer. We have Marianne, which, I mean, Hufflepuff. Like, she's troubled Mercedes, which we haven't even talked about Mercedes yet. But she's just like kind healer girl, shy, doesn't speak, loves animals. it's all signs point to Puff here. I don't know what you want me to say about that. She's nice and she likes animals and she's shy. So she's a Puff. Alright, next up we have my favorite, the what was I talking? Which is the next in the roles that I was talking about. Oh, the tomboy of the Golden Deer. We have Leonie, one of my favorite characters. She's great, and she's a Gryffindor, 100%. She's super stubborn, very fixed on her ideas, does not listen well to others, does not play well with others, will fight you, and will win. Absolutely. Is not afraid at all to tell you what she thinks about you and what she thinks about your attitude and what she thinks about what you are doing. She will just be like, hey, that's stupid. Or, hey, you need to appreciate your dad more, even though he just died, and I know I probably should let you grieve about that, but I'm just gonna tell you, I think you did not appreciate him, which we could talk a lot about that scene. But look, she was grieving too, and this is how Gryffindors grieve. They get mad. So yeah, it gets angry easily, but also very bold, very outspoken, very brave, and very extroverted. Like willing to talk to people, likes to start conversations and do stuff with people. So yes, all the good and the bad of Gryffindor. Leonie is that, and she's awesome. Okay, that is all for the Golden Deer. So now we're moving on to the complicated people. Ugh, I have to sort Dimitri now because we're at the Blue Lions, the trauma house, yeah, I mean just the trauma house. I don't know another word for it. Just all of the baggage, and it's wonderful. So Dimitri, so about this guy, I feel like, like for some of the characters who have like a really big change for them, sometimes you could like put them like in different houses based on where they are, but I think he stays pretty consistent even though he goes through big personality changes. Like at the core, I guess, of it, he still stays the same person, and the same house, I would say. So I do think that Demi is a Slytherin. I don't know, just like the layers Slytherins. When somebody is just so layered, I just want to automatically be like, oh, so you're a Slytherin. Like, it's but it's for good reason, like when people are hiding all of these things and then they like you find out all these secrets about them. That's like a Slytherin thing, to hide like these huge parts about yourself and then with no intention to share it with anybody, is like it's just a Slytherin thing. So I feel like there's a reason for just like the complicated characters just kind of screaming Slytherin at first. But he held like all of the trauma, even in like before the time skip. He just had all of the trauma, and you could see that in him. And like, but nobody, you didn't know. You could just like sense some badness, but he kept up a very, very convincing, like, I am Prince, I am Royal Prince, and I do Prince things. Nice to meet you. How do you do? And things like that. And he did that very well, so nobody really knew all the things that were going on. So when he does snap and just stops holding it back, it's like completely unstoppable, which just becoming like unstoppable in your goal at a certain point, when you reach a certain point where you just are not really caring, like you don't have any limits anymore. I feel like it's a very Slytherin thing. Is like you have a point, like you're going to accomplish a goal. You have a goal, and Slytherins are very goal oriented, and it's like when you have this point, it's like you either kind of give up some certain morals or you give up your goal. I think it is a Slytherin thing to say, okay, I will give up the morals then. I will push people out of my way. For Dimitri, I will murder and continue to murder. So that's how he did it. Not saying that Slytherins are murderers. Slytherins are great, again. But yeah, that is a very Slytherin thing to me. Like, he has his mindset on this thing. He's like, okay, this is what I need to do to make all of the trauma go away. Got it, good. And he just puts like all of it into doing it, and he's pretty unstoppable. You can't really do much. It takes a very big thing to snap him out of that thing, which I think, being that set on something, set on doing something to achieve your goal, is a Slytherin thing in general. So Slytherins are the most likely to become murderers, essentially. Just kidding. I mean, I'm kind of just kidding. Like, a Slytherin and a Ravenclaw would be really good together at murder. Don't do murder. It's bad, I'm just saying. If we were to think about that. That is what I think. Okay, we're moving on now. Alright, so next we got Dimitri's right-hand man, the second in command of the Blue Lions. We have Dedue. I will be honest, I did not spend that much time with Dedue. I just didn't like, I wasn't like, he seems like a cool guy. Like, he wasn't one of the ones that, like, pulled me in, and I didn't really do... I don't know if I looked at any of his supports with Byleth. I might have done one with him and Mercedes, I don't know. I just didn't pay attention to him that much, but he was a part of the story, and so I had to pay at least a little attention. And from what I did see from our Master Chef Duda, is that he's like, obviously, as like a character and as like a unit in the actual gameplay, he's like a friggin' huge tank, bro. But like, at the personality wise, I think he is a puff, like a giant puff, which is hilarious and kind of fun, because he loves flowers and cookies, and he bakes, and he gardens, and he never instigates any conflict, even though, like, people are racist to him all the time, and he goes through quite a lot of crap, but he never wants to fight, and he's very chill, and he's like not trying to start anything no matter what anybody says. He's just like, let me plant my flowers and my cookies and all of these things. No, not planting his cookies, that's wrong. Don't do that. But yeah, I mean, I think he is just like this tank cinnamon roll. He's like a cinnamon roll with machine guns for arms, but cinnamon rolls don't have arms, so that's a bad analogy. We'll think of it later. Comment what is the cinnamon roll analogy for Dedue. Alright, next we have the rival of the Blue Lions, Dimitri's rival, just angry at Dimitri for actually a lot of reasons, not for no reason. But Felix, again, he is pretty layered. And he is a Slytherin. Again, just the layered ones just scream Slytherin. But for him, it's more straightforward. It's less just like, oh, he has layers, I want to call him a Slytherin. Like, he has his one goal. He wants to be like the best swordsman, and he doesn't really care about anything outside of that goal. And like, the goal is because of trauma, and because he's like, alright, life sucks, so I'll focus on this one thing that doesn't suck, and I won't care about anything else. He's like, he has no problem with shutting people out and then just like being a jerk to people. He's got no problem with that because he doesn't really care anymore, and he doesn't really want any help with his trauma. Like, all of his emotional baggage. He's just like, whatever, don't worry about it. I don't really care. And he doesn't try to tell anybody about it, and he's just very shut off and focused on only one thing, which again is a Slytherin thing. The not as good side of Slytherins, but Felix is a good guy, and he becomes like, he grows and stuff. He has his arcs, and I like him as a character. Like, he's not a bad dude. He has a lot of nice endings, but he is just like really snarky and aggressive and like, don't talk to me, I just want to do this one thing, so leave me alone, which I do think is a more Slytherin fault. Okay, moving on to the brains of the Blue Lions dudes. My just the bestest of boys, maybe better than Claude. I don't know. I'm gonna do like a top 10 Fire Emblem Three characters one day, and just him and Claude are so close. I don't even know what I'm going to do about this situation. But we have come to Ash, just purest boy, bestest knight, just all the good things bestest child would protect. So I didn't want to put him in the house that he so obviously is because of the stigma of this house being weak, and our boy is not weak. Don't say about. I know he's nice, but he's not weak like Ignatz. Don't ever compare him to Ignatz. Don't put him in any group that's the same as Ignatz, except the Hogwarts house. But in a better way than Ignatz, because Ignatz sucks. So Ash, I do think I will admit he is a Hufflepuff. I mean, he's just I know that, like I said before, that like some Hufflepuffs just be weak, and that's Hufflepuff. Like, over softness is a Hufflepuff struggle. What's the word for like a bad personality trait? Like a flaw. It's a Hufflepuff flaw. But he doesn't have that. I don't think he's like over soft or weak or naive, because he has a past that should absolutely be traumatic. But he is the only one with that kind of past that is not like fundamentally screwed up as a person now. And I think that is like a Hufflepuff strength. Like, he, at his core, is he like, I just want to help literally anyone, literally any way I can, even if it costs me stuff. I don't care. I just want to like help people. And he's kind, and he is considerate, and he does indeed bake and garden and cook and read, which I don't know if reading is a Hufflepuff thing, but what else? He reads, and he wants to be a knight, but all of the things, he just wants to do it for other people, which is a very Hufflepuff thing. It's a Hufflepuff strength. He just has a very strong set of ideals, and like, he believes that he needs to help other people, and because of that, he doesn't have all of the baggage that everybody else has. He is willing to tell other people about it and just like be open and get help for it. So he's not super traumatized, and I think that is a very Hufflepuff kind of strength. He's a very strong Hufflepuff. He's a good puff, and he's amazing. So again, puffs could be great. Even though I have put mostly people I don't like in Hufflepuff, Ash is a shining example of puff, and all puffs should strive to be like Ash, because he's amazing, and he is indeed quite the puff. I don't see any other arguments. He's a smart boy, good at strategy, fast learner, but he's just like at the center. The center is warm and gooey and cinnamon roll, so he's a puff. He's a puff boy, but the good one. All right. On to Sylvain, I guess, the brawn of the house, if we're following format. But I guess, because he's like, he's not as like obviously like, I want to have muscles and punch things as the other two like brawn members of the houses, but he is like the biggest and the most stereotypically guy-ish, so he'll be put in that category. He'll be the brawn of the Blue Lions. But for Sylvain, it is a little more complicated, might be even more complicated than Dimitri, because he does have some trauma. It's just not as, like, actually, like, it's a little different than Dimitri's in a lot of ways. So he hides it differently. But again, he is a laird boy, and therefore he goes in Slytherin. It's more complicated though. Again, so the way that he is secretive, like a Slytherin, he just like puts it like he puts this super convincing mask on because he has problems, and he has problems with like women and crests and all of these, and his brother and all of this stuff that he has. He just like puts this like one thing, and he makes himself seem like a completely one note kind of dude and does it really well. But it's not like he's not he pretends to be very open and carefree, and he's very good at that. He's very good at being charismatic, which I think is a very Slytherin thing. He's good at rizzing people up, obviously. And that's, I think, being good at Riz is a Slytherin thing. So just the way he is able to hide like all of these things very convincingly, and is able to put up a very believable front, I think is a very Slytherin thing. Again, just like being layered and hiding stuff, I think is a thing that a lot of the Blue Lions do. And I think it's a Slytherin thing, you know? But Slytherins, most of the Blue Lions are like pretty great. So again, Slytherins can be awesome. They are super determined and ambitious, which Sylvain is. He just doesn't tell people, so he can more effectively accomplish it. And so he doesn't have to hear if his ambitions might not be great. So, yeah. I mean, just laird boys are Slytherin. There you go. There you have it. That's the title of this episode, I guess, if I don't forget it. The one other time I actually said in my episode that this would be the title, I forgot it, so probably won't end up being the title. Alright. The next one we have the quirky girl of the Blue Lions. Annette. I don't like her. She's kind of boring. She's a little annoying. She's similar to Lysithea, but she's not as good. She's not as, like, smart or talented or like even good as a unit as Lysithea is. So like I just don't like her. She's like a off-brand Lysithea basically. And but that said, I do think that Annie is a Ravenclaw. Like, okay, let's just be clear. I don't want her in my house. I would gladly put her in the Pufflehuff or just anywhere else, but like she's quirky, she's smart, she's very zealous in her schoolwork and her studying. She does have those like some other layers. I think she has some daddy issues or something, and she's very nice. And there are some big puff qualities, just like really nice. Again, cookies and baking, and just that stuff. But the outward most prominent signs point to Ravenclaw, which I'm not crazy about, but it's okay. It's fine. Okay, next we have the Femme of the Blue Lions. We have Mercedes, which, so I said that Marianne was Mercedes with issues, and she was a Hufflepuff. So guess what? Mercedes is a Hufflepuff. Mercedes is mom. And that is that. Essentially. If you don't know what this game is, that's really all you need to know. She is just everybody's mother. That sounded weird. Not in that way. Just like she acts like the most stereotypical sitcom perfect mother kind of figure. And she's also ditzy. But yeah, Puff, easy, done, bye. So, oh, look at that. We have a little pattern that just formed because we're on to the tomboy of the Blue Lions, Ingrid. And I have also put Ingrid in Gryffindor, which that's funny to me because we had quirky girl Femgirl, Tomboy, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor for both of them, which makes sense, does it not? But yeah. So Ingrid, I put her in Gryffindor. It's a tougher one. She's a little less. Like obvious, I guess, is like Leonie, and she has some other stuff going on with her. She's a little hard to figure out. She's kind of a little like too straightforward as a person. she's like Lady Knight, and that's exactly what she embodies. She's very kind of stoic, serious, focused, that kind of thing. But like that thing, the girl knight thing, has just used just bravery, bravery and boldness, and that kind of thing. Plus, she is very outspoken, especially with like Sylvain and stuff. Not afraid to say like, "Hey, you're being an idiot. Stop it," and stuff like that. And she's very firm in her beliefs, including the racist ones. But she is willing to be changed. So, but I think the biggest signs again point to Gryffindor, even though she's very serious and doesn't give you much, I guess, on the surface. And she wasn't one that I really paid more attention to again in the Blue Lions. But just like the girl knight thing has very much Gryffindor vibes, so we will put her in the Gryffindor house. Okay, so that was all. That was all of the Blue Lions and the Golden Deer, and I sorted them perfectly, I'm sure, and I'm sure none of you have any opinions otherwise, because I'm sure none of you fit into the category of Harry Potter and Fire Emblem Three Houses fan. But if you do, that's really cool. We should be friends, but we probably can't, because I don't know you. But anyway, thank you guys for watching or listening, or whatever you done did. I might do the Random Serious Friday thing next time. So we'll see about that. Maybe I'll wait another day, but because those are gonna take longer to form an outline, because I actually have to like think hard and make sure I don't like say heresy or something like that. But yeah, we might do that. And that is all. Make sure to subscribe and do all the things and comment. Especially comment. You should comment. That's fun. Do it. Please. It's fun for me. It makes me happy. And I will see you guys next time. I have tape on my fingers just a second. Okay. Bye.